G'day and welcome to the show.
Today's the third episode in a three-part series that's taken us from Maree to Alice Springs and now Birdsville.
And it's all been thanks to our good mates at Market Direct Campers, Windsor Caravans and Oricom.
Mate, let's not waste any time. It's time to get to the dunes, I reckon.
Why don't you come along with us as we show you what's up down under.
It's time to see this land of wonder. It's time to go and see what's up down under. What's up down under.
We're at the final point of our three-episode journey where we've travelled from Maree in South Australia across the WUDU track to Alice Springs where we saw the Simpson Desert race, and now we're heading off to Birdsville through the mighty Simpson Desert.
With a bit of help from our partners at Red Arc and Windsor Caravans, I'm travelling and staying in the Silhouette XC, suitable for that tough terrain.
Travelling with us on this trip, we're lucky enough to have David Cook from Tough Dog Suspension to help us navigate through the outback.
Rounding off our team is the off-road ready Alicia from Market Direct Campers in her Robson XTT.
As seen at the end of last week's episode, we're headed towards the Mount Dare Hotel, our last stop before crossing the desert.
The Mount Dare Hotel is one of those locations in Australia that's always full of excitement. You've either got people that are about to head off on a trip across the Simpson Desert, or you've got people who've just arrived from their trip across the desert, depending on which way they go across, of course. So it's the last place. It's your staging area if you're going to head from west to east, which we did. Take on fuel, any last supplies you want. There's a very inviting bar there. They'll give you a cold drink, and the meals there are pretty bloody good too. So if you want to get your head down on a bed, they got beds there for you, but pretty much everyone's set up. They're going to do a crossing, so there's plenty of places to camp. It's a place that you don't go past. You stop there and you get yourself ready for the trip. The word oasis is probably absolutely perfect for Mount Dare, because when you turn up here, you haven't seen a lot of green grass for a while. The beer garden out beside that pub there is just full of it, as well as some nice tables to sit on. Now, accommodation options here are probably everything you could want, from roll your swag out on the ground, to park your caravan up on a powered site, to get a cabin with your own ensuite. What more could you ask for?
You can also purchase your Desert Parks Pass at Mount Dare, which is something you absolutely need to do before you cross the desert. We did it just before doing our final checks before hitting the dunes.
There's the morning before you head off, or generally it's the morning before you head off on the trip. Just go through and do the last pieces of your preparation. You know, you've got to have your sand flags put on, because not far out of Mount Dare you start hitting the dunes. So from a safety point of view, get them on there.
Well, it is compulsory to have a sand flag when you're out in the desert. It's got to be 3 metres from the ground so that when you're heading over the sand dunes, people can see you coming.
Pretty rough track out there, so just let a little bit more air out of tyres. At about 23 psi. Take a little bit more of that bump out of the road. There's been some traffic out here.
Tyre pressures and momentum will get you out of most trouble out in the desert, but it's nice to have the peace of mind of knowing that you've got your tread pros with you, so if those two fail you, that is going to get you out of trouble every time. Don't go without it.
Driving across the desert is not a race. It's not something you need to power through. You want to just take it easy, because so many people rush, and that's how accidents happen. It's you're a long way from home and a long way from help.
Make sure everything in your vehicles is strapped down, because what you're about to go across is going to move things that were never meant to move. So if you don't strap them down, they are just going to turn into things that are flying around inside your car. While we continue to do our final desert checks, why don't you check out this from Diesel Care? I've caught up with Andrew from Diesel Care to see just what difference a Steinbauer power module can make to your car. Mate, what are we going to see here today?
Look, we've got a Hilux here that has a Steinbauer module fitted. We've got it on the dyno. We're going to run it without the Steinbauer module first. Then we'll connect the Steinbauer module, do another run, compare those runs.
Let's get into it and see what we find. Everybody knows how important it is to get the best performance from your diesel engine. Once the vehicle is all hooked up to the dyno tuner, the first test shows the engine diagnostics without the Steinbauer power module fitted. It's really quite amazing to see the graph speak for the product, because the second test shows just how much more power you can gain from having the module fitted. The results are clear, and really, you'd be crazy not to want up to 20% more power and torque, which is exactly what the Steinbauer power module can give you. To find out more about the Steinbauer or any other products that Diesel Care has to offer, you can head to dieselcare.com.au.
We're almost ready to tackle the desert, but before we do that, here's what's coming up on today's show.
This journey's been made possible by our partners at Windsor Caravans. To find out more and to see all the latest models, just log on to windsorcaravans.com.au. On today's show, we'll be cooking up a storm on the Robbo XTT.
And we tackle Big Red before heading on into Birdsville.
But stick around because after the break, we hit the Simpson Desert.
What's up down under?
Macca here. This journey has been made possible by our partners at Market Direct Campers and Off-Road Caravans. To find out more and to see all the latest models, just log on to marketdirect.com.au. It's an interesting question. When do you realise you're in the desert? Because even the road to Mount Dare is quite desolate. You know, you're in clearly an arid part of Australia, and you could probably think you are driving in the desert for 200 k's or so before you get into the desert proper, as I refer to it. But you see the sand dunes start to emerge, you know, and there's a few that pop up earlier, and you think, we're in the desert, and they disappear. And but once you're in there, you know you're in there, because as far as you can see, every direction, nothing but sand dunes.
Well, for the first few hundred k's into the desert, every time I looked back into the rearview mirror, I didn't see anything other than dust. And I got to tell you, I felt sorry for all those guys back there chewing on it, because it's pretty thick and it hangs around unless it's windy. And we were pretty still for a few days there.
You need to stay alert all the time when you're towing in the desert. But we're talking 4 days of full alert. Now, there's not even a race out there that goes for 4 days. You get tired. So there are moments that you're not on your A game. But the desert lets you know when you're not.
As we got further into the desert, the sand dunes were getting bigger and bigger, and getting over them was proving more of a challenge, but we were loving it.
Mate, I'll tell you what, on the way up that one, see if you can hold on for 8 seconds and the bell will ring for you. Woo! Yeah! Here we go. Yeah, buddy. Hey, Cookie's starting to get down a little bit on the fuel gauge here, mate. We might find a spot to pull up and put a dribble in. What do you reckon?
Yeah, not a worry at all, mate. I think I can see a clearing up ahead, so I'll pull up and wait for you.
Mate, big load you got on board there, and I've been watching you as we're going along. It's not dragging its backside. I mean, what's your secret?
Mate, this is my personal car. It's got 0 to 300 comfort load springs in it, 350 litres of fuel, handling it easy.
So people are doing themselves an injustice by overspringing their cars.
Absolutely, mate. We make 2 springs heavier than this, and they're both constant load springs, but that's what it is. It's a constant load. This load going straight in here, so it's not constant, which means that this spring is just perfect.
Well, let's get that in here and get back on the road.
Done deal.
For me personally, the best part of the day is the day when we decide you're going to start looking for a camp for the night. I mean, the freedom of travelling in the desert is that you can camp wherever you want, and you can find good spots and you can find bad spots, but to find that little flat spot that's got not a lot of spin effects on it, and you can see the spot where you're going to put your fire in the middle and you get that going, and spirits lift. I mean, at the end of the day, driving out there, people are tired, people start getting a bit worn out, things go wrong, you know, things do break, and you're having to fix bits and pieces as you travel along. To get to that little harbour, that little sanctuary, I suppose it turns into pretty quickly, and the fire's burning and morale lifts again, and all of a sudden you're sitting there with your mates having a great old time under the best light show you're ever going to see anywhere in the world. It's a pretty special part of crossing the desert for me.
One of my favourite things to do when we roll into camp is get that chair off the roof and get the fire set up, because then you know you're in for a good night. You know, and if everyone else in the crew's lucky, I'll even pull the guitar out.
Well, there you go, all set up to enjoy an afternoon in Australia's outback. Now you might ask, is the Windsor Silhouette an off-road unit? Well, I'm filming this right now in the dead centre of the Simpson Desert, and we didn't drop it in by helicopter, we've towed it in, and it has performed like an absolute trooper. Got us here in style, and when it's time to camp, it'll do it in comfort, because outside here, you've got an entertainment area that you can kick back in the afternoon and enjoy a couple of coldies that you've very well earned under the shelter of this awning. Now, everything outside here is built around you enjoying yourself. You've got a full entertainment system out here. Kick back, listen to your tunes. 12-volt outlets here, so you can charge all your appliances and run other things that you want. You've also got 2 40-volt outlets, because there is a tray for you to throw your Jenny in if you want to keep your batteries topped up, or have those other comforts that require 2 40-volt. Now, inside there, you are going to be living like a king, because you've got room for the whole family, not just to sleep, but to cook for them as well, with a complete kitchen. And we've used it and cooked up a couple of storms in there, I can tell you that for free. I'm just going to get around here and check out some of this storage. Under here, I'm carrying my firewood, just a nice spot for it. You can put whatever you want. It goes all the way through, so you can throw fishing rods in there. Anything that's long, you choose. It's your camp, and do what you want with it. The Silhouette XC is set up with a full 12-volt battery system and charger, which is run through the solar panels on the roof. Talk about thinking about everything you need. Underneath the cab, we're running independent suspension, so anywhere you want to hook it on the back of your car, dream about going for a holiday, she'll follow you. Me, right now, I choose to grab a chair out, go and enjoy this campfire we've got set up. See you soon. Stick around, because after the break,
Only another 800 more dunes between us and Birdsville. Are you guys pumped?
yes.
What's up down under?
This journey has been made possible by our partners at Track Trailer. To find out more and see all the latest models, just log on to tracktrailer.com.au. Well, everything was going absolutely perfectly. We were over the dunes, we were through the swells, and we were on our way to Birdsville. But there's one thing you can never plan for. We've come down, hit a dune, and the bash plate has moved, and the bolt holding the bash plate in place was a little bit too long. It made its way inside the radiator, which is less than perfect, especially out here. We had planned how much fuel we needed, we'd planned how much water we needed, but all of a sudden, when the water keeps running out of the radiator, you go through it pretty quick. So we need to solve this problem and solve it quickly. So we're running a bit of bush mechanic work here. Everyone's on the job. We need to plastic weld, plastic weld in the bush, that radiator up and get it to hold water and a little bit of pressure as well, so it can do its job.
We're pretty fortunate in that we had Cookie with us on this trip from Tough Dog, and also one of our crew guys, Dave, who's cameraman, also does a bit of producing as well. And these two blokes, they love a problem in the bush. They're absolutely, tongues are hanging out of their mouth and they're drooling when they see something like this, that they need to bend their mind to come up with some sort of solution to get us through.
So what Dave's doing in there, where the hole is in the radiator, plastic as I said, so we're heating that up and then filling the hole up with bits of melted zip ties, 2 similar plastics in there. Hopefully going to fill the hole up, seal it, we'll be back on the road.
Is that working under there, Dave?
Yeah, it seems to be, mate. I think that's probably the best we're going to get.
Okay, cheers.
Let's give it a go.
And just like that, we were back on the road trying to make up some lost time.
It wasn't too long before we had to make camp, and as usual, it was up to me and Macca to do the cooking.
So today's culinary challenge popped up when Rico said to me, I can cook anything you order out here in the middle of the Simpson Desert. I said, I'll have a mixed grill, thanks, old mate. So how are we going with this mixed grill, mate?
Mate, I reckon the mixed grill needs to make a bit of a comeback, to be honest. So what we've got here is a mixed grill is 5 proteins: beef, pork, lamb, chicken, and an egg. So in place of the pork, I've got some bacon, comes from the same magical animal. Can you pass me that skewer out of the water that I've been soaking, mate?
Here's one I prepared earlier.
So it doesn't catch fire. All right, first step is the nice streaky bacon. Grab a chunk of protein, wrap the bacon around. So what I've got here, mate, is another little bit is an onion. So the missus thinks we're getting enough salad out in the road, and I'm soaking those in bourbon.
Bourbon soaked onion, just so we get enough salad out here on the road, looking after ourselves as we do. So straight skewer, you soak them in the water to stop them from burning in the pan, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, mate.
And a little bit of bourbon on the onion. That sounds like it might be a bit of all right, eh? What else are we having? Because when I order a mixed grill at the pub, it comes with more than just the meat, mate.
It does. So I've got a couple of frozen potato jams, and what I'm going to do now is I've got a few that I prepared earlier. I'm going to get these frying up. We'll see how we go.
He froze the potato gems earlier. Good on him. I'll tell you what, they look all right, mate. Is there anything I can do to help?
Mate, you can go and grab me an egg.
An egg?
Out of the fridge.
Righto, I'm on my way for that one. I'll be back in a minute. Always good at following instructions. Egg, fridge, pretty easy. Actually, have you checked out these new CFX 50 fridges? Pretty high tech. Macca's come to the high tech world. I've actually got an app on my phone, and what I can do through Wi-Fi is turn my fridge up or down, so I don't have to leave the fire. If I get a beverage out that's not quite cold enough, jump on here, turn him down a bit. Away we go again. Egg gone. As directed, my friend, 1 egg. What are we doing with that?
Beautiful. All right, let's get our egg in our boiling water.
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
Nice and gently so we don't break the yolk.
Oh, mate, I think you might have achieved something there.
Let's have a look and see what we've got.
Well, you reckon it's all good to go?
I reckon so.
I'll tell you what, you really should have a shop, mate.
There's your egg. 5 proteins in the bush.
You have achieved something. I feel as though I have had a win here today, and if you'd like to have a win, why don't you check out our competitions, both online or on the show, like this one. What's Up Down Under have teamed up with the Caravan Industry Association Victoria, Go Make Some Memories, and New Age Caravans to help you get your gecko on. But this competition ends soon. New Age Caravans is still giving you the chance to win a brand new gecko caravan valued at over $50,000. The gecko from New Age has a lightweight, compact design, which means you can still enjoy all the comforts on the road without it taking up too much space. The Gecko features the tough Alco Enduro suspension, 15-inch alloy wheels and plenty more, so you can travel in comfort anywhere. For the runner-up prize, our mates at Kamek are giving away a $1,000 gift voucher. There are also monthly prizes to be won, including 6 $500 Kamek vouchers and 6 Family Parks vouchers valued at over $150 each. You can enter every day of the competition, and all you have to do is log on to whatsupdownunder.com.au, click on our competitions page and follow the prompts. So get your New Age gecko on and go make some memories. Enter now because this competition is ending soon. Oh, mate, you have absolutely smashed this.
Stick around because after the break, we're hitting Big Red before going into Birdsville.
What's up, down under?
On this journey, our communications have been provided by our partners at Oricom. You can find out more about Oricom two-way radios and many other products by logging on to oricom.com.au.
When you're out on the road, communication is vital, and the best way to stay in touch with your convoy is with Oricom. To find out how you can win big with Oricom, just head to the competitions page at whatsupdownunder.com.au. Well, there's heaps of great prizes to be won, so get online and register now. Our partners at Kamek are giving What's Up Down Under digital magazine subscribers a chance to win one of 2 RV Media 32-inch smart TVs, each valued at $799. To enter, just go to whatsupdownunder.com.au, click on the magazine tab and subscribe to our digital magazines, and you automatically go in the draw to win one of 2 Kamek smart TVs. Kamek, go further.
So our last sand dune when you're getting out of the desert is pretty famous dune called Big Red, and you approach it from the western side there and you can see where everyone's been trying to get up this dune, and this is the granddaddy of them all. She's a big soft dune. We're towing trailers, so you're not going to get them over the top of this thing on any of the hard tracks, but there's a track on one side. It's referred to as the chicken track. Well, there's nothing about being chicken when you're towing a trailer. You just want to get to the top and get into Birdsville.
You know, Big Red, it's famous for a reason. It's an absolute monster. It's the easternmost dune in the Simpson Desert, and it's 50 metres high. It's absolutely huge. You know, there's a reason you can buy shirts that say, "I conquered Big Red."
Go baby go, go baby go. Come on!
Because it's a big deal, and to do it with a trailer is even better. So I've come up the right hand side, parked up the top, looked down at the guys. They look like absolute matchbox cars down there in the valley, and it was a real buzz.
Once we made it over Big Red, we kept on moving to Birdsville, our final destination.
Rolling into Birdsville, I'll tell you what, it doesn't get much better than that. after having spent a fair bit of time out in the bush, or in our case in the desert. You know, you've got the bakery over there, you've got the pub right here. Doesn't get much better than that.
And all of a sudden everyone just lifts another peg, I suppose. It's that thing that you don't realise you've missed things, like a shower, until you know that you're only hundreds of metres away from one.
And once we arrived in Birdsville, we checked into the Birdsville Caravan Park.
I've been to Birdsville many times in my life and always made the Birdsville Caravan Park my place to stop and put my head down. But I've just rocked in here to check in, and guess what? They tell me they've got another level of accommodation now, brand spanking new. Put me in there for the night. I want to go and check it out.
Something new in Birdsville that wasn't here when I was here last is something called the Lodge. Now, this is accommodation that's been built specifically for things like the races and the Big Red Bash. It houses 78 people. There's a massive camp kitchen in there. And, you know, when it comes to accoms in the bush, this is 5-star stuff. Every room's got showers, toilets, their own beds. And as I said, that camp kitchen is just amazing. I reckon there's going to be a few tails swapped in there.
Once we were all settled in, we decided to finish off the day at the Birdsville Hotel.
Well, mate, we made it. I reckon there's only one thing that's going to wash that dust down properly.
You're too right, mate. I'm about as dry and as dusty as they come.
Well, here's a place they prepared earlier.
Well, that brings us to the end of our 3-part series that's taken us from Maree right here to the Birdsville Hotel.
And it's all been thanks to our good mates at Windsor Caravans, Oricom and Market Direct Campers.
And of course, thanks to our mates Cookie and Alicia.
Hey, now, the four-wheel drive and camping industry this year lost a champion bloke in Steve Robson. And this trip's been pretty special to us because we got to tow a camper trailer across the Simpson Desert that was named in his honour. And we've got his hat right here with us too, so here's to you, Robbo.
Cheers.
What's up down under?